make are the choices you make.
Yeah.
No one is making those choices for you.
Well, in our circle of privilege, there are many
Also-
women outside our circle of privilege who are not making free choices.
No, but the point is, Barkha, that there is always a choice. Now you are deciding it you're making those decisions based
Sure.
on your assumptions that you have to take this
Yeah.
for your family, your
Yeah.
kids and whatever. But I will humbly just put this, that, that it's not easy making those choices. When I have made some choices, I have not been, 100% mother, 100% executive, 100% wife and
But
daughter.
nobody is
Nobody is there,
100%
right?
at anything.
No,
Yeah.
and this whole superwoman
Yeah.
nonsense which people
Yeah,
talk
correct.
about is BS,
Yeah.
right? So I think you have to be who you are. You are the best version of yourself is what you should give your best to.
Yeah.
And what comes out of it, be happy in that choice you make. So I think that is where it doesn't then matter about the gender and the world you are sort of navigating yourself into. But authenticity, being true to yourself, and the choices you make to be happy with those choices is what I would highlight.
So to come back to, the letters we would write to the daughters of tomorrow, which is the title of Shamoly's book. Just a data point. There's a lot of data in this book, by the way, but I'm sharing a data about how many women in India work. I looked that up for something else I was doing, and I found that in 2024, official statistics tell you that 37% of India's women are in the workforce. But if you break that data down, you will find that most of the spikes in that number come from rural India, where women have to work. So how many women work in cities? Women like us who are educated, who have the opportunity, only 25%. Only 25% of India's women in cities are joining the workforce, okay? Yeah. So I want to understand that. What is going on here? Is society holding back these women? Are they juggling too many balls? Are they losing themselves to some kind of conditioning? Let's first all be clear, we're all in different degrees products of our conditioning.
Yeah.
Men and women included,
Yeah.
right? No judgments. What's happening here?
So there are multiple layers to this, Barkha, which is one of the reasons that pushed me to write the book, because I came across this statistic that more women are getting educated, but less are getting transpired to the workforce. So where are we losing
Tell
the...
story about that matchmaker.
Yes. So I interviewed a couple of matchmakers, and one of them was very interesting for this book. And he stays in a very, privileged part of Mumbai, and we had a good conversation. And it's interesting to know that a lot of girls today are educated because they will make a better match tomorrow. And parents are worried कि ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ाएंगे, ज़्यादा masters कर ले, or if she studies a lot, then getting a match for her will be tough. And I thought these are conversations that we have years back, decades back. This is like maybe a year old.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. So what is happening is, yes, we want to glamorize education. We want to give great packages in terms of she's a well-educated, well-spoken, opinionated woman. Opinionated as long as she's within her cultural traditions and respectful and not arguing openly and all of that. And but after marriage, it's absolutely okay if the parents, if the in-laws and the husbands are okay, then she can go ahead and pursue something that is comfortable within while she's taking care of the house. And these are real conversations that are happening today. So if the woman in that society is working, it's like it's an added bonus. She's never looked at as the primary,
the main person.
Yes.
But it's important to say at this point that there is also sometimes less privileged people who give up everything that they have to give their daughter a dream. In Delhi, I'm sure you were all familiar with the Nirbhaya gang rape that happened in 2012. The father of that girl was a baggage loader at the airport in Delhi. In Calcutta, in Kolkata, where a doctor was raped and murdered at her place of work, the father and the mother are darzis, they're tailors. They've given up everything they have to give their daughter, a dream. So people are trying, but in more privileged circles, women are this is counterintuitive what I'm about to say, in wealthier homes, women are being held back from professional dreams in a way that they aren't being held back in lower income homes.
being pushed, actually.
Yes. What do you make of that? Were you ever held back?
No. My dad was rather very enthusiastic about, growing up, I studied in a Kendra Vidyalaya throughout my life.
Yeah.
And my dad had very simply, he would never force us to study. He would never force us to do anything. But he would whenever I was into sports at a very early age, and he never said, "Khelna chhod do because padhai zaruri hai." At the same time, you know, a lot of CCA activities happen. My dad would always encourage us saying, "Go and participate. It's not about winning. Go and participate." Right? So I don't know where he got all these virtues from of just allowing his kids to be, but I think he has done that to the whole family. And I think he would have been actually upset if any one of us decided to sit back home and just be a housewife or something. I think tab unko takleef hoti.
Though that said, there's a whole debate about unpaid work and women at home, homemakers not being paid for their work, but again, it's a gendered role. I mean, I'd be a lot more comfortable, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this. Some organizations are moving to family leave, not maternity leave, not paternity leave, but family leave. The Supreme Court now has a creche that men and women can both bring their children to. The idea that somebody can be a homemaker in the West at least has now started extending to men. And I think that would make a lot of us more comfortable if roles were equally applicable to both genders, right? But what is holding women back from a full career? What is holding them back? Because the data tells you that something is. 25% of women in India's cities work. That's a pathetic number.
Pathetic indeed. And the sad part is that in the last 30 years, that maybe that 20 has become 25.
Yeah.
So, not one reason, Barkha. You know, there isn't one reason. There are multitude of reasons. There are social issues. There are personal challenges. Ability to take that, you know, not having the ability to take an and life, like it's either or. And that is not self-created, but you are in that situation. It's like a quagmire. You're just stuck. And for anyone to come out of any kind of such a situation, I'm sorry to say, but you have to take it on to yourself. No one is going to do this for you. For a lot of us here on this panel as well, nothing was given to us on a platter, right? It's not that we haven't been to our fair share of challenges. We all have come from, you know, middle-class families. We've achieved reasonably well in our lives. So it's been a hard work, you know, all of us. So I think a woman has to take those decisions for themselves. No one is going to take that for you. I am a big believer that there is no husband, father, children, society who will make it easy for you. No. There is no shortcut.
So why are women not able to do it? What is this quagmire?
I want to add here, you know, the conversations that we have with our daughters and with our sons are fairly different unknowingly, unconsciously from the time they are kids. So this idea of, you know, when a son is brought up and he knows that he is going to grow up and he has to earn, he has to get a job. Passion hai to hai, nahi bhi hai to you have to do a job, you know. As opposed to a woman is always spoken about what you like, you pursue, passion, see, whatever is light, you know, these kind of conversations. Even when I was doing medicine, girls were encouraged to take dermatology and radiology because they don't have emergency calls and family bhi sambhaloge. That's a very normal conversation there. The idea that a son grows up knowing that I don't have an option, I have to grow up and run a house, while the woman or the daughter, you know, हम बोलते हैं princess की तरह पाला है, and like all of those conversations is actually it's a backlash, because we are also somewhere subconsciously inculcating that now the father is taking care, tomorrow husband will take care. It's okay, you know, if you want to. That kind of passive conversation needs to stop.
But you know, I'm glad we're talking about what led us to sons of the future, sons of tomorrow might look like. Again, to go back to the Kolkata rape and murder for just a moment. In this horrible thing that happened, two very heartening things came out of the movement for justice. One was that men were standing shoulder to shoulder with women on the streets asking for justice. Men were right there and they felt it. I interviewed so many male doctors who felt deeply about getting justice for their colleague, their friend.